I don't want to call it Trustworthy Computing 2, the comeback story,
Oh, I do.
but
I would call it Trustworthy Computing 2, the quickening.
the quickening or the cloudening.
The cloud. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Remember we were serious about security? Yeah, we're doing that again. It's like gaming. Every once in a while, they're like, yeah, we're really big on gaming in Windows. You know?
Yeah. Um, I read the entire announcement, front to
Mm-hmm.
back, top to bottom. Brad Smith, we're going to use AI. We're going to be more
Yeah.
AI, whatever. We're going to do more, which is great. Good for you. I'm happy you're doing this. But what were you doing last week? Like, just
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's also, God, you notice this with stubborn people, but I see this with companies too. There's like a doubling down when there's criticism, right?
sure.
Apple is famous for this. In fact, you should go look at their latest earnings release and the quote from Tim Cook, which mentions the carbon neutral Apple Watch for some reason, which isn't carbon neutral. There's a big controversy over this. And that's like an example of them like, this was in the news this week, so we're going to talk about it, even though Apple Watch didn't impact our earnings in the slightest. That kind of thing. And I think the AI thing with Brad Smith and Microsoft, I think it's the same thing. It's like, we're going to prove to the world that this thing is a net positive. We're just going to keep talking about it. And I by the way, also stock price related, right? This is about market cap and Wall Street getting excited about them. Now they're using it for security. Oh my God, this is great. Meanwhile, you ask the stupid thing a question and it gives you the wrong answer. But the security thing, I'm sure that's going to be fine. What could go wrong?
So the question becomes, because it's inevitable, Microsoft, there will be a breach of some capacity, hopefully small, big or small. I mean, right? Microsoft's getting hacked and tacked every
Yeah.
a trillion times a second, something. Like it's a stupidly high number, right? They're one of the largest providers. So when it happens, do they get to blame AI? Is that what they're going to, oh, Jeeves did not code well today. Like,
Security, cyber security is no different than physical security.
mm-hmm.
And if you think about the TSA and what they do, it's always about chasing the last threat. Hopefully with AI, I mean, hopefully the AI thing is always an asterisk, right? If it gets it right, asterisk, everything's just going to be great. And so hopefully they can use AI to proactively detect threats, or so to speak, or whatever. Yeah, figure out what the next thing is going to be, not what the last thing. We all know what the last thing was. We'll see. The claim there, you read it, was hackers are already using this technology to find workarounds to things. I mean, we need to use it to combat that, I guess. I don't know. I miss the days when, of DEP and things were simply just move shit around in RAM and everything was fine. Like that kind of thing. It's a little more complicated.
Just deploy the firewall. That's all. That was it.
Yeah, just turn it on. Everything's going to be great. Well, I mean, your apps are going to not work, but you know what? You'll be secure. And
Yeah.
that was
They
a fun
can't get
couple of
out.
years.
They can't get in. Am I right?
Right, exactly. Exactly.
So, anyways, that came out. We'll see. I don't know. They also announced, actually, I think it was today or yesterday, they're doing more with Rust. They're making a huge investment in the Rust. What is it?
Oh, this I did not see.
Yeah, it's not community, but like what's the group? Whatever,
Tech
coalition,
community?
whatever they're called. Giving them like $1 million, and they're doing like $10 million worth of internal tooling towards Rust. So
Yeah. This is, Rust is like anything else in Windows.
it's a good language
good.
with a terrible marketing campaign. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but no, Windows is too old and too calcified to be ever completely redone, from scratch or anything. And no one ever claims they're going to do that, right? But they'll look at the high value targets for rewriting key parts of the kernel and eventually, drivers and more and more things with Rust over time, and it's good, but ultimately it's still going to be a patchwork of assembly and C++ and C and Rust now and whatever else. And it's going to depend on the component. There's always going to be those spots. I mean, you hit the high value targets and you move down the list, but you're not going to finish. And the UI is like that too, right? To talk about something really superficial. I mean, you don't have to dig too deep into Windows 11 to bring up legacy UIs. And just like, same thing with the source code. I mean, you don't have to go too far before you're running into something Dave Cutler wrote in 1994, or something. It's just, it's the nature of the beast.
It is.
Yeah. I'm going to, where did you see this story though? I
just Twitter or whatever it's called this week.
Ruster.
Rust. I mean, it's
Twitter,
Rust.
but
It's a
rewritten
terrible
in
name.
Rust.
It's like
Rusties,
we're gonna harden this stuff. What should we call it? That thing you don't want on your
the
car.
thing that makes things. You're right. The thing that makes metal less hard. Yeah, that's a good point. It's a short name. I like that. It's not. You can't mispronounce it. Pretty much. I guess you could call it Roost or something. But
anyways, they didn't ask me. They didn't get my opinion. That's probably why. I'm just kidding. Anyways, Apple's doomed. They only made $89.5 billion in revenue, which was down 1%, right. Completely doomed. They are doomed. So,
anything within 1% is flat as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. And actually, the weird little statistic here is that I don't know this for a fact. But I believe every single quarter for the past years, some number, the iPhone as a percentage of Apple's income revenue has gone down. And actually, this is the first one I remember where it actually went up a little bit. Apple, which is still very much a one product company because their big businesses beside that are services, which is wholly dependent on the iPhone. And the other one that was doing pretty well was wearables, that part or whatever. Whatever that, accessories, which actually is not mostly, see people here that they think watch, but actually it's mostly the little earpod things. And those businesses don't exist without the iPhone, right?
Yep.
So, they're still working on that. Honestly, they're the biggest company in the world. They're doing great. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's a healthy business. And, Google's a one-hit wonder too, but their one hit is advertising.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly we respect Apple more than we respect Google.
As you were talking through that, I don't know when Tim Cook's going to retire, but he'll retire eventually at some point. And it'll be like, what is his legacy? Well, obviously it's not the iPhone. That is not it. I think it will be that he was able to generate and bring online businesses that surround that really grew Apple's revenue.
Expand on the iPhone. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a bigger thing. More iPhones for one thing, right? More models, make that a more, and then, the strategy of selling older devices each year at less money it's okay. It's fine. But I think having more of a diverse, new gen lineup is important too. But the services thing, I think it's, ultimately it's services. It is building on the iPhone. It's Apple, there's something, I don't know what you call it when it's like self-predatory, but there's something odd about the Steve Jobs thing where it's like, we do the iPod, it's incredible. And then we do the iPhone and it destroys the iPod, and you can't keep having hit after hit, especially if it cannibalizes, I guess cannibalizing is the term, your own stuff. And so I think this stuff is, that they've done under Tim Cook is important because it's complementary. It's like I don't know. It's a healthy, growing ecosystem, It's smart.
Yeah, unlike us.
Exactly.